Hey guys, how's it going? I just wanted to sit down and just do a video. I heard from my sister that one of her friends passed away. One of her friend's babies passed away recently of SIDS, and then also somebody in the comments, really? I'll be back in a little bit. I wanted to do this video because, like I said before, I have just heard of a few babies who have passed away, and every time I hear this, it just breaks my heart into a million pieces because it brings me back to when I lost my son. And even to this day, you guys, I have to say, like, obviously I can talk about it without crying, but there is not a day that goes by that I do not think about my son. I'm always thinking about all my children. Whenever I think about my two children, I think about my third child too. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always thinking about my son, even though he's not here, and I still feel as connected to him as I did when he was here. I just don't have the privilege of raising him, which is really hard to kind of swallow and accept. Anyway, so I kind of wanted to do this video in my last video, which I'll link down below. I had told you what happened and my experience of losing a child, and what, just went into deep detail of before, during, and after type of a thing. 2 bits, not like, didn't go into like what helped me and what others did that helped me and stuff like that. So I thought what I would do is go through that right now as best as I can. This is kind of a spur of the moment thing. I'll link my video down below if you haven't seen it, of how of the story of how I lost my son. So I kind of wanted to talk about some of the things that helped me after, like after James passed, like what helped me as far as what other people did. No matter, for those who have friends who have lost kids or family, I'm just gonna kind of speak on kids. You need to realize there's nothing you can do or say that's ever going to make them feel any better about the situation. So I feel like the limited amount of talking is best. I think that they will do the talking if they want to. I do know, and I don't know if you guys know, but I'm going to say this: everybody grieves differently. Everybody grieves differently. Whereas after James passed away, like when everybody was at my house and stuff like that, how everybody did, you're always at there. There's always like a group thing. Everybody kind of comes to your house and like wraps around you. And that happened for like 3 days after. And I just remember I would talk about it. Like, I would just be sitting there listening to other people, which helped. Having people around me talking and stuff like that, just being normal, really helped. And then, like, at the same time, when I would have my outburst of crying and shock and, oh my God, is this really happening, and talking, they would be there to listen as well. And so I think as a friend, it's a good thing to not act like everything is normal, but at the same time, don't act like everything's not normal. Because it's like, if you go overly, I don't know, I'm just letting you know what worked for me, and that really did help. For me, it helped talking to people. So just people listening really helped, and not saying things like, he's in a better place, it'll be better one day, your pain won't be as hard one day. Just limit. I'm not saying those things are bad, because we say the craziest things when we're uncomfortable. And even though I've lost a child, I still I still am uncomfortable with people who have lost people, because I just know that pain, and I just know that it's just an uncomfortable situation. And I think that's just kind of a normal response. So I think that just kind of not saying those things, just saying things like, what can I do to help you? I'm just gonna sit here with you. Is that okay? I'm here for you if you need me to talk. Things like that. Just try to stay away from the you will this, you will that, he's in a better place. Stay away from those things, because it doesn't feel good to hear. When I would hear those things, it would make me angry. And so I would just, if you've already said something like that, what's done is done. And if you're really close to them, they're not going to hold it against you, because they know that how uncomfortable the situation is. Okay, so another thing that really helped me after my son passed away is, like I said, I had a child. So I wanted my child to be with me. I didn't want him to not be with me, whereas other people might feel differently. So you just kind of have to be aware of that. And if they feel like, if you want to say to them, look, you know, I'm here to help you with your kids. Would you like me to stay the night with you? Or would you like me to take them? Whatever I can do to help you, I will do. If you need my help, I'm there for you. I wanted my kids to stay with me, but they would be there to help me feed them. You know, so pretty much the only thing that I was doing with my son is the things that I felt like I was okay doing. I was in major shock, so I wasn't even taking care of myself. I didn't know how to take care of myself. My brain, it was like being literally run over by a bus. I mean, my body hurt. It was like I was, the things that your body goes through after losing a child is incredible. Like, I have never felt that way in my whole life. I literally felt like I had gotten run over by a bus, like literally like gotten in the worst accident ever. And I woke up the next day and I was in that much pain. My body was in that much pain because of the shock. And so I just wasn't able to really function. And my brain was going through a lot of shock to where I would have outbursts of like I would just be fine one moment and then the next moment not. I would just be like in shock that what just happened. So, you know, I wanted my son there with me, but I needed, and I didn't even ask for help, you guys. There was always somebody there for me. And I think that it doesn't always have to be you, but maybe organize with their parents, with their family, you know, that somebody's there with them. And it really does help. And that's just there to literally not talk to them, not be there like with them, but just help them with their clothes, you know, their dishes, help them make dinner, help them make lunch, make them food, make sure they have stuff at their house, make sure that, you know, their house is picked up, just things like that. Even if you're just, let's go for a walk, you know, not like out, just things that you know that they love, maybe light some candles, whatever they love, just there to kind of assist them in trying to have some normalcy. Because I think when you kind of get back to normalcy, it's a good thing. It's a good thing not to kind of get stuck in a dark place. And no matter what, they're going to go through it. So you can't take it personal if they're angry, if they lash out at you, because everybody reacts differently. And you just never know how the person's going to react. And so just try not to take it personal if something like that does happen. I'm doing this all off the top of my head, so I'm sorry if it's kind of all over the place. Another thing that really helped me was the church that I was going to, which I didn't go to every Sunday, but I was involved in a mom's group. And I don't think you have to be involved in something in order to do this. So please know that. There are friends, family, like neighbors. There's so many people that you can kind of, what I was trying to say is, it really helped that somebody took initiative. I had no clue what was even really going on, but they took initiative to literally set up. What they did for me is they coordinated dinners for 3 months, you guys. For 3 months, I had somebody every single day, and sometimes they rotated day. Like, it wasn't a different person every day. They would rotate. And they brought me food my family, and they made food for us every day. Somebody would drop it off. And this was so nice because, first of all, I didn't have to cook. My husband didn't have to cook. We didn't have to leave the house. We didn't have to go out to dinner. We didn't have to, and also that people bringing you food and just feeling that fellowship, even though sometimes people said like some, you know, annoying things because you didn't really know them. It really helped. It really did help, just kind of like with a little bit of a lift of spirit. It did come, I think 3 months is kind of overdoing it. I don't think you need to do it for that long, because after like a month or a month and a half, it got to the point to where it was like, I don't think you have to do it for that long. Do it for however long you can work it out. I think that that helps so much, you guys. Setting up dinners helps so much. Helping with any kind of funeral arrangements that you can help with really helps, because that's the last thing a parent wants to do after they lose a child is go. And even if you kind of mention it to, if it's a friend who've lost their kids and you feel like comfortable doing this, even if it's mentioning it to a parent or a sister, saying, hey, you know, is there anything I can do? Can I, or maybe just however you feel comfortable, just having somebody go and take care of some of the funeral arrangements really helped. You know, going and getting the name of the cemetery that they want to bury their child in, but you going to the place and being like, it's just setting it all up, just doing the behind the scenes, you know what I mean? Setting up some kind of a fund or some kind of a fund or whatever, just to raise some money for them, because that's another thing, like funeral plots, things like that, they're expensive and not everybody has the money to buy that, and you just don't want to have to worry about that on top of having to take off work because you're grieving, and you just never know how long that's going to be, how long your life's going to be suffering. So any kind of financial help that you can set up for your friend or for your family member, you know, whether it's online, whether it's, you know, through the church, whether it's just through friends, family, neighbors, whatever it's from, just setting up some sort of a fund so that way it can go towards the cost of living or cost of loss of work or cost of funeral arrangements really helps out a lot. And these are all things that really helped me through the time of losing my son. They just, when I look back at them, I'm just so happy about them, and just feels like people really had my back, you know what I mean? Like I really feel that way. And like I said, nothing you can do is going to take away their pain. They're gonna go through just a bunch of shit. There's just nothing you can do about it, but you can be there for them in little ways like this. Like for instance, my cousin, she was there for me a lot, and she just hung around. I mean, she was quiet, but she just stayed around me, and we're close. So it's not like she was quiet because she was quiet. She just was very observant to just knowing that just having a body there was that I loved and cared about was helpful to me, you know what I mean? It's just something that I'm always going to be grateful for, because I just remember feeling so, even though I had JD there, I just remember feeling so like lost and lonely, and just having somebody there who I was close to and that I loved like tremendously, it just really helped. Unfortunately, a lot of marriages who lose children, they end up failing, and a lot of the time is blame, or just you grieve differently. Me and JD, my husband, we grieved differently. I did not grieve the same way as he did, and sometimes it's really hard to understand like that, you know what I mean? Like it's, why are you like, it's just hard when you don't grieve the same, because it's just hard to be understanding to the other person and how they're grieving. And if you see that their marriage struggling, or maybe just remind them that, you know, just that it's okay that he's just grieving, and, you know, just maybe books. I know for me, books really helped a lot. I read a lot of books about SIDS. I read a lot of books about death with children, and so just buying books really helps. And that also teaches them a lot about, or teaches them or me or whoever, a lot about how you grieve differently, and just to try to be gracious and understand what the other person is going through might not come out the same. And the books really did help me understand that. Like I said, they could be an angry griever. I mean, everybody goes through the stages differently, so just be understanding, but and not in the way that you are putting yourself on the understanding level. You know what I mean? Because unless it's happened to you, even though you're a friend that it happened to, or sister that it happened to, it didn't happen to you personally. And so you have to understand that. I mean, so you will never understand unless you lose a child. You just won't. You just don't know the things that go on in the body, the things that go on in the mind. You just don't know. And so don't ever try to say that you understand, because you just don't. And that's a good thing. Just be really happy that you don't, because losing a child is just so devastating and so traumatic and so disheartening and so a lifelong battle. Just be happy and grateful that you don't know what that's like, because you just don't want to. So don't ever understand what they're going through, but just be understanding. What I mean is towards their feelings, because they're gonna go through a lot. It's really hard for me to kind of go over everything. There's not any one right way to be towards somebody who loses a child. It did feel good for the people who were there for me continuously. So just try to be there for whoever it is that's lost a baby. If that's going to support groups with them, you know, whatever makes them feel comforted in some sort of a way. And you have to remember that they're not going to always ask you. Sometimes you're going to have to go to them and ask them. You're never going to know unless you ask. So I hope that it helps some people just kind of know how to be with family or friends who's lost children. All right, guys, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.